Hello, hello, and welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I am going to straighten out my camera so you can see me better. My name is Sabrina Rising. I am a spiritual teacher and a psychic medium, and I am honored to channel spirit on your behalf as the Oracle. Welcome to my show. I love being here with you all every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. It really is my favorite thing, one of my favorite things that I do. And we have some community members here that are already in the chat. It's good to see you all. I'm going to take a moment to just say hello to everybody. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome, 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 Rhonda. Hi, Tina. Hi, everybody. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you all. Thank you for being here with me live. I'm going to click on Instagram here just to see if we can actually go live on Instagram tonight. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Here we go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me live tonight. We have a really great show in store for you. First of all, I want to just take a moment to celebrate that we have 13 members in our community, which is such a huge milestone. It's so beautiful for me to witness that. Especially because we just launched our membership. So I'm really excited about welcome, Sally. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Liriel, for putting her on screen. I'm really excited about our community that's growing. Yesterday, we had our first inaugural Oracle gathering. It's basically a combination psychic gallery and mediumship demonstration. So it's, I channel spirit on your behalf, just like I do here, except we're on screen and I do mostly mediumship connection. So a lot of loved ones come through, and I do evidential mediumship during these channeling events, and the healing and the messages and the community and the love was just so palpable and so real and so deeply healing for all of us, myself included, as the channel. So for those of you that are considering joining, there is the tier 2 membership. Those of you that are seekers, you can join the first level. That will give you priority in the chat when you want to join us during Oracle Hour to get your questions answered. The tier 2 membership is the Inner Oracle Community membership. And Lyra is going to put the link up here for you all to join. If you want to consider that during the broadcast, it gives you priority access in the chat. You also get access to the Oracle Gathering, which is the event we had yesterday. That happens every month. So there's one channeling event that I do live every month. You get access to a private Facebook community where I also go live in that Facebook community, so you can interact with me there. And you have access to all of my ad-free content. Every course, every workshop, every program I've ever taught and sold is in my database. Everything from inner child work to developing your intuition, to learning to meditate, to learning how to manifest with ease. And that's actually the name of the class. And then the Way of the Mystic, which is my signature program in terms of developing your psychic abilities, learning how to do mediumship, and so on. So that's all there in the Inner Oracle community at $49.99 a month. In the second tier, for those of you that want to join that, please jump on it. We'd love to have you in our community and have you interact with us and have more closer contact with me over the course of your healing journey. Okay. So for tonight, we are going to, let me just edit one more thing. I apologize. We are going to remove Instagram. Here we go. And add, thank you for your patience. Here we go. All right. We are live, I believe. Okay. So for tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about how to stop overthinking and to hear your inner voice clearly. So the reason why this topic is so important is because if you are someone who wants to learn how to listen to your own intuition, how to develop your own intuition, of course, this is something I would recommend to all beings everywhere. The only way to live a life that is actually governed by your highest self, that is guaranteed to bring joy, fulfillment, alignment, and success, is if you live a life that is guided and directed by your intuition. As human beings, we're so tempted to rely on our thinking minds, to rely on what we already know, what feels safe, what we're accustomed to, what we've been conditioned by, what's available to us in society, what other people are suggesting that we do, the things that we feel pressured perhaps to succumb to, or the norms of society, or whatever's happening in the collective consciousness. And so it's very easy for us to not really think, to not really be conscious of what we're doing, and to just kind of go along with our society's expectations of us. Perhaps we're going along even in our personal relationships, whether that's to keep the peace or to keep ourselves safe on some level. And I talk about this regularly. This is fear. This is fear-based thinking that keeps us trapped in the mind, always looking for the safest, surest, most predictable outcome so that we can hopefully, possibly get our needs met. And this is, there's nothing wrong with living this way, except that it doesn't bring you joy and it doesn't bring you fulfillment. You might have moments of spontaneous joy, but it's not sustainable, right? And we always feel like something's missing. There's got to be something more to life than this. There has to be something more to my existence than what I'm living right now. So, and there is, because when you step outside of the thinking mind and we actually learn how to develop our own intuition. Everybody has it. You don't need to be born psychic or have special gifts to access intuition or to channel universal intelligence. It's just a muscle you develop like any other muscle in your body. And so once we learn to develop this muscle and learn to receive these messages, we can really feel into what's true for us on a cellular level. And this is a visceral experience. And I cannot recommend this enough. The joy, the liberation, the awe, the freedom that you'll experience if you start to rely on your own intuitive nudges. And of course, I always recommend starting small. Start with little things that, don't require a large emotional investment or many or big risk decisions as you're learning to develop your intuition. Start with little things like fun little games you can play with yourself, like finding, trusting that you're going to find a parking spot, or trusting that you're going to, decide on one direction versus another, or like little things that are you're not attached to, that it's okay if they come true, and it's okay if you're right about this, and it's okay if you're wrong about this, so that you can practice feeling into the difference between your intuition versus your thinking mind. Okay, so we overthink so much as human beings. We overthink and we ruminate, and we can stay trapped in our minds because we need life to make sense. In order for life to make sense, we feel, when life makes sense, we start to feel congruent inside. And when we experience that sense of congruency, we feel safe in our bodies. Okay, so the idea is to not necessarily attempt to stop overthinking, because your mind thoughts will always roll in. It's a matter of creating enough awareness so that you're separating yourself from your thoughts. And the only way to really practice that gap, to create that gap between your thinking mind and your awareness. So the thinking mind is the logical part of you that is accessing events and situations and things from the past in order to figure out what to do next. Okay, so this is very important for anybody who's trying to understand how I am explaining this. The mind only has access to what's already happened. It doesn't have access to the realm of infinite possibilities. It doesn't have access to what your potential is. The realm of infinite possibilities and potential is only available through our own intuitive guidance. Okay, through channeled guidance, universal intelligence. This is part of the role that I play as a bridge between you and universal intelligence, is to give you access to the realm of infinite possibilities for your life, for your trajectory, given your current circumstances. And we're going to jump into these questions here tonight, here in a moment. But you can access this intuition. Okay, so the mind only has access to the past, what's already happened, and strategies to keep it safe, things that feel logical because it makes sense and therefore it's predictable. So the way we stop this overthinking tendency is to learn how to create this gap. So now I'm creating a gap between my awareness, which is omnipresent. My awareness is always there. It's always placid. It's always equanimous. It's not attached to a yes or a no. It's okay with whatever's happening. Think of your awareness as like, this omniscient, unattached, loving, benevolent presence in your life. And the experience is the part of you, the experiencer is that part of you that's thinking, what should I do next? What should I do next? What should I do next? So we want to create a gap here so that we can access our awareness. We can only do that. The only way I know how to do that is to start practicing meditation. Okay. There might be other strategies, but what has worked for me is to develop a consistent daily meditation practice that allows you to learn how to bring your focus inward and to focus on the sensation of your breath. And the sensations in your body. There's a beautiful technique that I learned many, many years ago. I am an old student of Vipassana meditation. For those of you that don't know it, go Google it. It's a beautiful practice. It's a 10-day vow of silence that you take in different meditation centers all over the world. And you learn this technique to observe sensations in the body so you can develop equanimity. You can develop not, sort of noticing what's happening without trying to go towards it and go away from it. So no cravings and no aversions, and just being able to be with whatever is. And that practice of non-attachment brings deep peace, deep peace in our bodies, and ultimately deep peace in our minds. And it helps us create this gap. Now, you don't have to take a 10-day vow of silence meditation retreat to learn how to meditate. I'm just sharing my own personal experience. And of course, I always recommend this experience to anybody who wants to go. I'm happy to endorse Vipassana. But you can start with a simple mindfulness practice of deep diaphragmatic breathing and just bringing your attention inward, noticing your thoughts come in. And as they roll in, just notice them without engaging them, without running off into the next thought and the next thought and the next thought. And the next thing you know it, as you're trying to meditate, you're having a conversation with yourself in your mind. Okay. So this is so important to bring yourself back to the present moment. And we do that by being present to the breath and the sensations in the body. And as you practice meditating, you'll see that there is now a gap between your ego mind, your rational mind, your thinking mind. These are all synonyms of each other. And your identity. That's also a synonym of your ego mind and rational mind and fear-based thinking. And bringing your attention to the awareness, the part of you that can feel, see, sense, experience the truth in the moment, whatever is true for you in this moment, whatever you feel the nudge or the pull towards. And the more you develop this muscle of creating this gap between your awareness and your experience, the more you have clear access to your intuition. Okay. And then as we lean into trusting our intuition on a moment-to-moment basis, perhaps throughout the course of your day, as I mentioned, start small with little things that don't that are a huge risk, where there's not a big emotional investment, where you don't feel dysregulated in your nervous system by leaning into your intuition for this one. Start with little things that feel gentle and that you can expand upon slowly from there, because you'll notice as you start to lean into your intuition more, the voice becomes louder. It becomes more intelligible. It becomes more obvious, more clear what there is for you to do or not do, depending on the situation. Okay. And so this is the signal, the internal signal compass that we all have. It's easier said than done, because when it's you and it's happening to you and you're in this situation, it can be hard to let go of your attachments and to really trust in your discernment and trust that spirit or your higher power or God or universe or whatever your language is for that is going to give you the message that you need that's going to serve your highest and best good. We have to be willing to hear the truth, even if it's something that we don't like, even if it's something that doesn't suit our purpose or suit our needs, or it's something that, it goes against what I was hoping for. I really, really wanted this thing. If you've ever done any pendulum work, this happens with my students all the time, where I'm using the pendulum, but the pendulum's always wrong, because you're not clearing yourself to really accept the truth in that moment. Like, what is a yes and what is a no? What is my intuition? What is my higher self actually saying that may be going against the answer that I want, but it's actually the thing that I most need to hear? Okay. So again, just to stay on topic for tonight, the way we stop overthinking is through basic meditation. Okay. So just learning to develop the muscle of tuning into your awareness and detaching from the thinking mind, so you can start to feel the voice of your intuition, and then trusting those messages as they come through as being exactly what you need to hear in this moment. My sense is I should go. My sense is I shouldn't go, but I really want to go. But my intuition is saying, I'm feeling something holding me back. The more you lean into that, the more you trust that nudge, the louder this inner voice becomes, and it helps guide you and direct you throughout the course of your everyday life. Okay. So again, I recommend starting small, starting with little practices, develop your daily meditation, and then start to practice your intuition. in situations where you'll notice like, oh, I actually felt like that was the right choice. And, that happened, right? That felt like alignment to me. And so it's amazing to me how many of us don't know what real alignment feels like, because we're so disconnected from our inner voice. We're so in our minds about what we should do, what we shouldn't do. We're so busy overthinking the solution to a problem, rather than really just feeling into it and listening to our higher selves. Of course, you need a practice to do that. So I would recommend starting there. Develop a meditation practice, 5 to 10 minutes a day of deep diaphragmatic breathing, and just learning to observe the sensations in your body with no attachment, and just learning to be still. And you can practice also by introducing questions, very clear questions to spirit, and listening for a yes or a no, and cultivating your experience that way, cultivating your intuition in that way. So I'd love to hear in the comments if you've had a chance to practice this type of thing, if you're someone who's looking to develop your intuition, if this is Dietrich says I'm a terrible overthinker. Aw, we see you, Dietrich. I'm sending you so much love and compassion. You're not alone. We're all human beings overthink, because most of us don't feel safe or regulated in our nervous system. We don't feel grounded in our bodies, and we don't have a relationship with our higher self. We don't have a relation, which is the most important relationship that you can develop. Okay. So, and we do that again by embodying unconditional love for self. So the path to higher self is learning how to love your 3D self. Okay. So again, we can't bypass this step. So when we do, again, developing our intuition, of course, we're talking about overthinking tonight, but all roads lead to learning how to embody unconditional love for oneself. Okay. So when we learn to really love ourselves, the 3D version of ourselves, learn to love, learn to balance our 3D energy in a variety of different ways, our thinking, our actions, our thoughts, our language, the choices that we make, then we start to have more clear access to our higher self. Your higher self always wants what's best for you. It always wants to see the 3D version of you choosing love. And as we choose love, we neutralize our karma, and we make the most of this human experience. We do right by others. And of course, what goes around always comes around. And I firmly believe in that. Okay. Heidi says, I'd love to have a clear intuition, constantly trying to figure out which voice is the one to listen to. Good. You're in the right place. This is perfect. Heidi is an inner Oracle member, and, we were learning how to develop our access to our own intuitive guidance. We do that by meditating and by practicing and by being patient with ourselves. Of course, I recommend to everybody to have a relationship with spirit. So whether that is God or higher power or whatever language you use, we must have a relationship with something that's outside of this 3D reality. Otherwise, we always feel alone, right? We're disconnected from any kind of divine support, any kind of universal intelligence. And even if it's just universal intelligence, that's okay. That's a great place to start. You can be developing a relationship with nature. Nature is God. Nature is love, right? Nature is how we harmonize with whatever feels most balanced in our own bodies, right? So spending time in nature is a great way to calibrate and to learn how to develop a connection to God, to source, to energy, so that you can really lean into your intuition. So Heidi, when you notice yourself, and this is for everybody else listening too, when you notice yourself really overthinking and just ruminating and kind of should I, shouldn't I, doesn't feel good in the body, and you notice that you're disconnected from your lower half. So just again, relaxing and doing some deep diaphragmatic breathing and just surrendering it and trusting, I want the answer to come from my heart. Very simple practice. We can do it here together. For those of you that are inclined, we can take a big diaphragmatic breath together. Breathing into the belly, expanding the belly out, just putting your hand on your heart. What serves my highest and best good in this situation? Fill in the blank. It can be also a yes or no question. These are sometimes easier to decipher. Is this the best course of action? Listen for the yes or no. Is that the best course of action? Listen for the yes or no. I'm willing to hear the truth from my higher self. and be willing to receive it. We cannot make a mistake when we're listening to our intuition, when we're developing our relationship with spirit, and we're leaning into our own intuitive nudges, and we're trusting those nudges. We cannot make a mistake. We always end up exactly where we're supposed to be. We always end up exactly having the experience we're supposed to have, and we're developing ourselves in the process. Okay. And this is such a beautiful opportunity. It's such a beautiful way to live. All right. So, here we go. Rhonda says, Sabrina, I'm scheduled to usher at 5:30, so I will listen to the replay. There are no coincidences. And once again, you are addressing what's on my mind. How do I trust the voice answering me back? Oh, beautiful. Okay, so before you go, here we go. It's almost 5:30. Let's answer Rhonda's question. You have to start somewhere. So as human beings, we in order to trust, we look for evidence, right? So how do I know this is true? I need the evidence before I can trust. And when you're developing a relationship with yourself, your 3D self, unconditionally loving self, in order to have access to your higher self, we have to make a decision to trust. Trust is a decision. It's not something that's based on evidence. It's not even based on a feeling. You have to decide, I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to trust that this is the voice of my own intuitive self. Again, there are little physical things you can look for. Look for your cells expanding, feeling relaxed in your body, relaxed in your nervous system, feeling at ease with what is coming through, just knowing it on a gut level. So the gut, the solar plexus, is the first mind. Okay, so it always comes through there first. Before the thinking mind has a chance to kick in, the ego mind will kick in and say, yeah, but I don't know about that, but I don't know about this. And so you want to notice how you feel. It's so important to pay attention to your emotions. Your emotions are where all the information is. Okay, so paying attention to how you feel, paying attention to those nudges, those soul nudges in the moment, and just decide, I'm going to trust this and see where it takes me. Okay, start with small choices so that you can develop this muscle. And when it's a little bit stronger, you can use it for bigger choices, things that you're more emotionally invested in, and watch what happens from there. I mean, I can honestly say with lots of pride that my intuition is hardly ever wrong. I almost always know exactly what's going to happen, or how things are going to unfold, or how things are going to go. But I've been listening for a very long time. Okay. And I noticed I didn't say 100%. So I do make mistakes in my own life, especially when it's my stuff and I'm involved. But the point the goal is not 100% accuracy. The goal is alignment. What feels aligned for me? What feels true for me in the moment? What is going to serve my highest and best good? And that may not necessarily be a pleasant outcome. It may not necessarily be a lesson that your soul needs, that it came here to live out, to play out, and choose love in the midst of, in order to evolve and grow as a soul. Okay, so you are having a very temporary human experience. Your soul self has had many, many lifetimes, and you're here in this human incarnation to master the lessons from the previous life, to learn how to neutralize these soul contracts, the karmic path that you're on, to choose love so that you can liberate yourself from pain and suffering, and you can find your connection back to source. This is the ultimate goal for all beings everywhere. And so, and how this applies to everyday life is, you look at how you feel in a certain situation. You look at, does this feel joyful? Does this feel expansive? Is this meeting my needs? Am I in integrity with myself in this situation? We look at all these basic things and we say, okay, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, and healing is meant to feel like. Okay. I hope that answered your question, Rhonda. And good luck with your ushering tonight, and whatever that means, whatever you're doing. I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. Beautiful. Okay, Liriel, let's jump into some questions. Dietry says, hello, Sabrina. I'm reaching out for more guidance about my daughter. How can I support her right now? It seems she's having trouble setting boundaries with kids who aren't so great to her. Okay, so let's talk about this. Also, are the details of the bullying she's experienced accurate? She's been accused of lying. I just want to support her the best way I can. I don't believe your daughter's lying. Definitely not. I believe, though, that your daughter has some limiting beliefs around belonging and whether or not people like her. And, this is what happens, right? So we have an experience of something that feels traumatic, that creates an imprint, and that imprint turns into a belief that stores emotions in the body, trauma in the body as a result of this experience. And now the belief has crystallized it. And so every time, you know, the next thing happens, it will trigger that wound and it will reinforce the belief. And this is how conditioning happens. Okay. And it happens from very early on in our childhood. Throughout the course of our lives, we are conditioned to believe the evidence of our beliefs because we have the belief in place, right? So she's got some beliefs that have been crystallized already about not belonging, about, people don't really like her, that it's hard for her to make friends, or perhaps that she's not safe in a school environment, which is the deeper fear. Okay. So that's, if you really want to help her, that's where I would go. This is the place to start with her, is helping her, holding space for her so that she can learn to feel safe in her body and trust that she belongs wherever she is, that she's worthy of the space that she takes up in the room, in the classroom, at school, and that she will find her soul tribe, as long as she stays true to herself. Okay, so there is some healing work to do here because she's been through something traumatic, and I don't believe she's lying, but I do believe that she has some PTSD here. So, and that can activate some, oversensitivity around what might be happening now versus what's happened in the past. Okay, so that's how I want to explain that to you, just to give you some context, obviously, to give you a compassionate view of what your daughter is going through. And what was I just want to make sure I addressed the previous question. Do we need to switch schools or communities or build our confidence? What I'm feeling is I would like you to help build her confidence first before switching schools, because otherwise the message you're sending her is like, how you fix the problem is you change your environment, right? We run away from hard things. We move, of course, if she's in any physical danger, or there's a real threat, or it's become unmanageable, then by all means you should move. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the lesson here now is to help her build her confidence and help her overcome what has happened in the past. The fact that parents are accusing her of lying, I mean, this feels like an ongoing thing, right? So, poor sweetheart. I feel a lot of empathy and compassion for what she's been through, for her and any child that has struggled with bullying, especially at such a tender age. This is part of one of her soul like contracts, with what she elected to experience in this lifetime. And so I want to help you make the most of this experience, because you and her are in this together, you as her mom. Help build her confidence and teach her that she can be exactly where she is, that she can be the calm in the storm, that she has the confidence and the inner strength and the resilience to survive this and to move on with her life and to make other friends. And then once she's cultivated the inner strength and when she feels at peace with herself, it won't matter if you change schools or not. But from that place, you can make a choice about changing communities. That wouldn't be my go-to. My go-to would be, let's heal from this. Let's develop your inner confidence. Let's undo some of the PTSD that she has suffered as a result of this, so that she can have a better experience at school. Okay. And she needs you to believe her. She really does. She needs you to believe her. And I would like really be in solidarity with her. She needs your support. You've done such a beautiful job. Feels like Dietrich just kind of supporting her along the way. So the continued support is really about helping her build her confidence. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Please let me know in the comments. Heartbreaking. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. It is heartbreaking. So, and again, she's going to be okay. Before I jump to the next question, sorry, Lyra, I want to finish with Dietrich. She's going to be okay. She's going to survive this. I agree. I don't want to be reactive. It breaks my heart that she's hurting. I know. I mean, I can imagine, I would be the same if this was my daughter, in fact, I think you're handling it very gracefully, all things considered. I want to say, I want to say that your role is to help build her confidence, to stay. I know it's hard to watch our children be in pain. You have to remember that this is the experience that she's meant to have. You're welcome. Her soul elected to go through this so that she can grow and learn and evolve. As parents, especially as people who love other humans, as humans, when we love each other, we want to save each other from failing, from being in pain, from hurting, from falling down. No, no, don't do that. And sometimes it's what we're doing is we are prolonging the inevitable. This is a lesson she needs to learn, right? So of course hold space for her, but don't rescue her from the experience that's actually going to help her grow and develop confidence and learn how to stand on her own 2 feet. She has a lot of inner strength. Your daughter is very timid and shy. I also feel like she's very artistic too. And so, I think that needs to be cultivated, like maybe some extracurriculars or something like that. I feel like she'll find more of her people in art class or something like that. But in the meantime, I want to say that helping her cultivate her inner resilience and strength, if you can do that for her now, you're going to save her a lifetime of shrinking and running from situations and feeling like she doesn't belong and having awkward, social interactions later in life. Okay. Incredible artist. Yeah, I feel that. So beautiful. Thank you for confirming. She's such a sensitive person and she's so unique. It would be so good for her to find an artist community, her age group, her peer level, like the kids that are different from the kids she's going to school with, and where she can really nurture that talent and really find herself and start to recognize herself in amongst her peers. That's part of the problem that she's having, is she doesn't recognize herself with her peers. She does not like the other girl. She doesn't like what the other girls like. She doesn't, resonate with what they resonate with. And that's part of the issue. That's part of the reason why she's getting picked on. Okay. So I would really nurture that part of her, and continue to reinforce that has a special gift, but she can also, she can she can get along in any environment. Okay. This is the path for you. Okay. And if you have deeper questions, of course, I've given you a very long reading here, but if you have deeper questions and you want more insight on how to deal with this, then I suggest you book a one-to-one with me so we can go deeper into this, and I can show you how to really help your daughter and what's next in terms of the two of you, your soul contract, and how to make the most of it. Okay. So there's a link to book a one-on-one with me. Okay. Thank you, Dietrich. Thank you for being here tonight. Good to see you. Okay, next question. Jennifer says, "Dear Sabrina, how can I know what I meant to do as a business owner? I have been praying for answers, but I don't truly know 100%. Thank you." Okay, so there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that you're on the right path. Okay. So you can't even help it. You are an artist. It's who you are. You can't even, Spirit is showing me very clearly that this is what you're passionate about. It's a natural gift. You do it easy as breathing. It's something you do for your own self, to gain peace of mind, or to ground, or to recalibrate, or to connect with your own creative energy. It's very healing for you to make art. And so it's so fitting that you would start a business around how the process of making art and sharing that with other people. Okay. So and I say this tongue in cheek, the bad news is that you're never going to know 100%. You're not meant to know 100%. You're meant to feel into your soul nudge. This feels right for me at this time, and then explore that. And as you explore that, you'll get clearer and clearer evidence that this is what you want to be doing. All right. So, and again, the other thing I want to say to you too, Jennifer, is that you're looking for evidence of success before actually building this thing organically from the ground up. Okay. So Spirit wants you to be able to hold that not knowing for some time. Okay. Oh, Shiloh, bye. Sorry to see you go. We'll see you later. Let's bring back Jennifer. Here we go. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you want to know that things are going to work out. And I can tell you that if you stay on this path of really aligning with your essential nature, with your heart's desire to make art and to create this artistic expression, this is what you're meant to do. So if you stay on this path, even when there's no evidence that it's working out, eventually you'll get the evidence that it's going to work out. You have to work on the belief system. Okay. So part of you has to believe I'm meant to do this. It's going to be success is inevitable. I'm going to cultivate this and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to hold the void even when it's uncomfortable. Of course, as a fellow entrepreneur, I can relate to this experience of like, oh, is this really working? Is it not working? And that can be uncomfortable, especially when you're a sensitive type. All the signs point to art, Jennifer says, and it's still very new to me. I also love makeup and beauty. Beautiful. Well, that's art too. Makeup and beauty is art as well. So you don't have to stop at just the one thing that you're doing. Again, you're meant to lean in. When we follow our intuition, we're meant to lean into it and allow it to give us, the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. We're not meant to see the whole staircase, right? You're not meant to know the full outcome or the full journey. What would be the fun in that? Exploring your creative ability, exploring your passion, exploring your service. This is what Spirit wants you to know. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Don't give up on your vision. Keep creating. And most importantly, keep sharing your creative process. There is a book called The Artist's Way that comes to mind as I'm channeling for you. And it's such a beautiful practice. It's kind of like you're creating art on a daily basis, and you're sharing and you're writing, and you're there's an intimate sort of awareness that evolves as you're creating art on a daily basis. And this is like what I see for you. It's like bring people into your process. Like, what's it like to make art? What's it like to create art? What is it doing for you? How does it help you? What is the sense of, the feeling that you get when you make this? How do you overcome fear, limiting beliefs, doubt, self-judgment, makeup in front of a camera like influencer? Yeah, this is also art. This is also art. You can, get ready while you're walking us through your process. You know what I mean? I've seen that on social media before, and it can be very magnetic and very engaging, right? So the idea here is I want you to get clear on, you know, what this is doing for you and why you're passionate about sharing it with other people. Because pursuing success just for the sake of, being able to provide for yourself and your family, which is, there's no harm in that, but that can't be your why. The why has to be, why is this so important to me? Okay. And I feel like there's some deeper inner work here around really getting connected to your passion and how it's important for you to share this. Why is it important for you to share this with other people? Which is going to it's going to require some vulnerability. So actually, coming on screen with no makeup on as you get ready, and then walk us through your art process and, how you're going to link these two experiences together is actually a beautiful idea. So, something along those lines would be very good. Your soul is here to show us how to make things beautiful, how to create art and how to express art. And it's never going to leave you alone unless you just completely go for it. So you might as well just try and be in the experiment of it. Learn to love the experiment. And as you love the experiment, we will learn to love your experiment too. And that will ultimately lead to your success. Okay. That's how I want to answer that question, Jennifer. Okay. So I want you to keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right track. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, following your intuition and your soul nudges. Okay. Beautiful. Hi, Tina. Tina says, my question is, will I have a late marriage? Will I have a late in life marriage? Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to take a sip of water and then I'm going to tune into your energy. Okay. So I mean, I don't want to say yes or no because I want to empower you with the tools to step into this possibility right here, right now. Okay. If you stay on this current trajectory, relationships will continue to feel difficult and um yeah, like a distant, like I want to say elusive is the word I'm looking for. So it will continue to elude you, relationship and the commitment that you're looking for. Again, this points, the message I'm getting is like deep inner child work. Okay. So really learning to fall in love with yourself, learning to love every part of you, learning to heal your relationship with your dad, and what transpired in that relationship, like really learning to love and accept it and bring in forgiveness that's required for you to find peace, in your relationships with men in general. That's what I'm feeling around this. And so, I can feel that there is, um, there's unmet needs and there's a longing, right? Longing has become part of your identity. Like it's kind of like a something like a dull pain that you've learned to live with, and it doesn't have to be like that. And we can step out of longing and step into abundance and step into in the embodiment of love, the embodiment of what it feels like to have all your needs met. This is your practice. How do I embody having all of my needs met? You start with, okay, finding out what your needs are and then figuring out strategies where you learn to fill up your own cup. You learn to love and accept yourself as you are. You learn to be, um, yeah, just really enamored with you. And as you do this practice, you accelerate the process of amplifying this love that you are. You become more magnetic and more attractive, and you create a relationship. You know, that's how I want to answer this question. I don't want to condemn you to a late in life marriage. If that's not what you want, that's not what you want. What I want to empower you to understand and achieve within yourself is that you can create this experience sooner than you think. It's just about stepping into the readiness of it. You have choice. We are always in choice. The future is not set in stone. If you don't do anything to change your energy, then potentially, marriage will consistently look like a distant thing. But you're here having this conversation with me in this moment, and that's not an accident. So I would recommend that you do the inner child work. That's where spirit's directing me, is doing that inner child work so that you can fall deeply in love with yourself and learn how to be in the embodiment of unconditional love, so you can attract that into your life. Okay, because that's something that you really want, and it's actually something you're meant to have. you know um, we're meant to be in relationship as human beings. That's one of our basic needs, is connection and community. Okay. That's how I want to answer that question, Tina. I hope that was helpful. Beautiful. Hi, Amanda. Welcome. Amanda says, hi, Sabrina. I'm new here. Welcome to our community. I'm having some blocks with Tina says, yes, thank you. You're welcome, Tina. Okay, I'm having some blocks with my heart and trusting my intuition lately with everything. What can I do? Oh, you're in the right place, Amanda. I appreciate anything you may share. Okay. Thank you for your appreciation. Go back and listen to the beginning of this broadcast, because I talked all about getting out of our overthinking mind and developing our intuition. So this has to do with relationships. Okay, it has to do with love and relationships. This question, and there's a decision that you need to make that you're not really moving forward with. um we always know. I feel like I say this all the time. We always know, and I think, okay, so I'm going to be very specific here. The 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 relationship in question with this person requires you to take a step back, okay, and really evaluate whether or not this is a relationship where you can actually get your needs met. Okay. um there is a fear of getting hurt. There's a fear of things not working out and so on, and you just like, you've got a lot of I want to say, walls up around love and relationships and intimacy and making yourself vulnerable, okay, because of your past experiences. So we need to untangle that before we can access our intuition and decide really if this is a good situation that you can lean into. Okay. So, and again, any of this that you can validate would be great. Okay. Just so I know that you're here and that you're listening and we're on the right track. Um, Yeah, I want so again, trusting your intuition is going to require letting go of any attachments that you have. It's also going to require message for you specifically is falling in love, like trusting your heart fully, is going to require you being willing to have it broken, you being willing to be hurt, you being willing to go through the experience of heartache, because heartache is actually what expands us. It helps us grow in love. It helps us heal. It helps us realize our capacity for love. Okay. And it also helps us mature emotionally, because we learn about ourselves, about what we need and what we want and what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So this is part of your developmental process. Okay. So again, you want to learn to just relax, do some deep diaphragmatic breathing, go inward. I engage in a 5 to 10 minute practice every day. Do this every day, forever, but do it every day ongoingly for the next little while, and just really asking your heart the yes or no question that I believe you already have the answer to. Okay. And this situation that you're in, I want you to pull back and really evaluate, like, is this really the situation where I can get all of my needs met? Am I holding back from fear, or am I holding back because from wisdom, because I already know? Okay. And I think you already know. And so, yeah, I want to say that your heart knows that it needs more than what's available here. But it's got to come from inside you first. Okay. So we've got to deal with some of what happened in the past and why you're so guarded in the first place, and why you have the trust issues in the first place, so that you can really, really trust your intuition in this relationship and in future relationships. Okay. I hope that's helpful. Amanda, thank you for being here. I appreciate your question. Beautiful. Okay, good. Okay, let's go back and see. Do we have any other questions, Lyriel? No, we got everybody tonight. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, good. All right. So, if there's no other questions, we'll just wrap up here with a quick practice on just engaging with our own higher self and breathing into our diaphragm, and just taking a big deep breath together and just learning to trust our own intuitive guidance. So if whatever question you have on your heart, whatever question it is that you might be grappling with in your everyday life, pick one area of your life that you want clear guidance on, and just sit quietly. Breathe into your diaphragm. You can sit with your palms up. Sometimes I like to sit with my palms up, or I can put my hand on my heart. Say, I'm willing to trust the voice of my intuition. And you notice you don't hear it in your mind. You really feel it in your body. You know it in your body. You can sense it in your body. And you can start with a simple yes, no. You can start with whatever question you may have. Ask for your higher self to answer it for you, and be willing to not be attached to any outcome, to let whatever information comes through, trusting that it's going to serve your highest and best good. Intuition is not meant to make sense. It's not meant to make logical sense. It's just meant to guide you into whatever is going to serve your highest and best good. And sometimes, we don't know the reason for that, but we trust that that's what spirit has in store for us, and therefore that's what we're here to experience. Okay. And so you can just close your practice with another deep diaphragmatic breath and just thanking your intuition. There are times when it doesn't come through right away. The answer doesn't come through right away, but it can come through later on, perhaps through a journaling practice, perhaps in a dream when you go to bed, or the next morning when you wake up refreshed. There's the answer very clearly. So it's not meant to be like, tell me now, necessarily. It can just be where this is an ongoing relationship that you're developing with your higher self that will start to become more and more clear. The answers will start to become more and more clear as you move forward throughout your daily life, as you engage. This is really on my heart, Amanda says. Okay. Let me know if you have more to say. After I answered your question. She says, thank you. Yes. Okay, good. All right. Thank you for validating. This is really on my heart. Okay, good. Well, say more about what's really on your heart so I can guide you. And Jennifer's saying, Sabrina, how did you know you are a channel? What do you do to what do you practice to keep it clean? I love this question. First of all, we're all channels, everybody. Everybody, when we say channel, a channel is basically a vessel, right? It's a vessel for energy. And so we're all vessels of energy, and we can all experience our own energy. And when you learn to tune into your own energy, you start to experience energy outside of you. You start to realize or recognize that there is no separation between you and everything else in creation, and everything is energy. And so when you start to become aware of that, you can tune into messages, signs, sensations, feelings, visions, spirit connections. Again, it's just a matter of developing that. I've always known that was very intuitive ever since I was a young child. And most children are really connected to source consciousness because they haven't been conditioned with all of the fear that we learn as we grow up. And so, when you notice little kids, they're usually breathing diaphragmatically, naturally. They're having, maybe conversations with spirit. And, we think that they're talking to their imaginary friend, but they're really actually talking to the spirit. And so I was one of those kids, and it's very normal to have these experiences in early childhood. We forget our connection to source consciousness as we evolve as humans, because we learn fear and we learn limitation and we learn lack and we learn to be in survival mode. And so we lose our connection with spirit. So when I started to heal myself through, a variety of different modalities, I started with meditation, which is what I talked about tonight. Through my meditation practice, I started to develop my intuition more and more, became more and more clear. And then I got a calling to help other people. And this is many, many years ago. I started just coaching and guiding others with my intuition. And as I developed it, it became stronger and stronger and stronger. And now it's just a regular part of how I live. And this can be true. If it's true for me, it can be true for you. It can be true for anybody. And we all have different ways in which we can channel our gifts. Jennifer, for you, perhaps it's through art. Through other people, it can be through music, through writing, through speaking, through, building, creating different things. But we all have the ability to express love, unconditional love, source consciousness through us in ways that are meaningful to us, in ways that align with our karmic path. Okay, so I hope that was helpful in terms of answering your question. What do I do to keep it clean? Well, I'll just answer that and then I'll move on to Amanda. Energetic hygiene is the key. So trusting your intuition. First of all, we can't access our intuition if we're in fear, if we're in reaction, if we're triggered. There's no intuition. Okay, we got to work through the fear before we can really hear our higher self and the voice of our own inner compass. So we have to go through our fears and our limiting beliefs in order to really have access to intuition. The other part of energetic hygiene is just clean living. Clean living, integrity. Telling the truth, being an honest, kind person, having good habits, staying away from mood altering substances. I mean, there's a whole litany of things. And I actually teach this in one of my programs. Energetic hygiene is so important in order to be able to feel, hear, see, sense the truth of what aligns for your soul, your highest and best good in your everyday choices. Okay, so those would be the steps that I recommend. That's how I keep it clean. And of course, I'm not attached to any outcome. I'm not attached to the answer, not attached to being right, not attached to, it being a certain way of the things that I necessarily want. I have to let go of that in order to be able to really hear and feel and see and understand what serves my highest and best good and what serves your highest and best good when I'm channeling for you or for anybody else asking questions. Okay. Thank you for asking me such a beautiful question. I'm honored to answer it. Amanda says, I do feel, I think I needed that validation some way. Okay, good. Beautiful. I'm glad. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that was helpful for you. And you feel it, and you need to step back from this particular situation and trust your heart and heal your heart. It's time for you to really heal the pain of past relationships and the things that felt disappointing in the past, that have sort of jaded or you, or guarded you a little bit, made you second guess yourself. Okay. And this is normal. It's human. We have painful experiences. And of course, they create an imprint, and we're afraid of making the same mistake. And so we always want to make sure we keep ourselves safe. I talked about this at the beginning. That's what the reasoning mind does. It's always looking for the strategy that will help keep it safe, versus, really tuning into our intuition and trusting that even if this doesn't make sense, this is the experience that I need to have. Okay. And trusting that we're supported every step of the way. Okay. Vicky says, very helpful this evening. Oh, thank you, Vicky. More to think about and practice. Thank you so much. Okay, beautiful. I love, love, love that this was helpful. Okay, so here we go. Before we say goodnight, this coming Wednesday, I'm hosting a free workshop for those of you that want to develop your intuition, learn how to be the oracle of your own life. There's the link. So jump on that and sign up and come spend 90 minutes with me on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. PST, October 29th. There's the link to sign up for that. I will be teaching. This is an experiential workshop, so it's not just me talking. It's going to be us interacting. You're going to be asking questions. I will be guiding you through practices. You can bring your questions or whatever it is you're struggling with in your life. The preview here is to learn how to be the oracle of your own life, and that touches all of the things that we talked about tonight. How to overcome fear, how to stop second guessing, how to step out of your ruminating thoughts and develop a practice that leaves you feeling grounded and anchored and equanimous, and how to harness the voice of your intuition, little exercises you can take with you, how to practice your intuition on a daily basis. So if you want to come and learn these tools, I'll be giving some highlights in the workshop. So that's the link to join. Okay. I appreciate all of you so much. Amanda says, I've been really feeling a confusion with trust and love. It validated a lot with an inner knowing. What you said spoke to me and really helped me get clarity. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing that. It means a lot for me to be able to channel for you and serve you in this way. Welcome to our community, Amanda. We're here every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. For those of you that want to be part of the Inner Oracle community, this is the best thing on the internet. Join the link. There it is. Just click on that and join the second tier Inner Oracle member. You can interact with me on Facebook. We have a private community where I go live. I answer questions. I'm in there doing events as well. You get access to ad-free content here on my YouTube library. And you also get access to all the members-only content. This week, I am releasing The Way of the Mystic, which is an 8-week program that I taught live on how to develop your intuitive skills, how to bring on your clairs online, how to develop your intuition, how to practice, how to meet your spirit team, which was so fun, and how to develop your channel so you can experience mediumship connections and start, from personal mediumship or also for doing mediumship readings for other people. So that program is being launched this week in the Inner Oracle community membership. We'll be posting an announcement there, but that's coming through as well. There's so much good content there. And you also get access to the Oracle Gathering, which is my monthly live channeling event. You can come and get a psychic reading or a mediumship connection and be part of a loving, supportive community that is there to heal with you every step of the way. Okay, so I love you all so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me live. All my love. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday, and I will see you all on Wednesday.